All right, so let me take you through making a change here to my Vim configuration. So right now, I've got a function set up to restore a session. It's not important what it's doing. I just want to show you that when I hit F7 here, this shows a notification with restored in it. So that's how I restore my session. The key here is that right now that notification is yellow. Let's just say I want that to be blue instead. That way it matches what I have for saving a session. And so in this case, I need to modify the config here. And yeah, I need to use something like an info level log here. I'll just accept that. I'll add a title to it as well. All right, and I'll make sure I save that. Now, at this point in time, I could do several different things. I could resource this configuration to reload this, or I personally prefer, because right now if I hit F7, watch, you can see that's the old logic. I personally prefer just to quit out and start back up. And I set up a keyboard shortcut to do all that for me. So watch this here. F10, quits out, opens back up. And then if I hit F7 to invoke my logic, there you go. You can see I've got session restored. It's now blue. It matches my other session save notification. And so I'm done modifying my configuration. Now, the point of making this change has nothing to do with the sessions themselves. The point of making this change is I just wanted to show you a keyboard shortcut that I set up here. That was F10. Watch this here. So I'm going to quit out and I'm going to open back up. So if I were to break that down into steps, I go ahead and do a QA for a quit all, run that. And then I'm brought back to the command line, obviously. I then run mvim here to open it back up. And now I'm brought back to where I was at. My session is restored. So I can do a full restore here without needing to orchestrate the steps by hand. And to set this up here, I'm actually using keyboard Maestro. So the first thing I do here, I assume that I can hit escape to get into normal mode. Most of the time that will work. After that, then I run the QA command to quit out. That way, if I have multiple windows opened up, for example, if I were to open up another file here and split the screen, if I run my shortcut here, quit out, open back up, you can see I have both windows restored, and that's because I quit everything at once before I exited out and saved my session. So that's the first part here, is just to quit out of Vim, and then I wait a slight amount of time here, followed by issuing the mvim command at the command line that opens it back up. And so part of the reason I'm sharing this is it just surprised me how useful this actually is. Up until this point, when I wanted to do a full restart, I'd have to issue the QA command. I then have to start it back up. And that's not a huge hassle. With session restoration, which I have a separate video about, that actually became rather easy to do. Nonetheless, when you add all the pieces of the puzzle together and just have a single keyboard shortcut to do it, it becomes surprisingly interesting how useful it is and how I don't have to worry so much now when I make changes to my configuration. I don't have to worry about how do I source this so I don't have to restart Vim. Instead, I'm just like, I'll just do a full restart. And that way I don't have to worry about any ordering of configuration. Instead, I can test it out exactly as it'll be every other time I start up mvim. And so if you don't have something like this set up, strongly encourage you to consider it. You definitely want some sort of session management that's automatic to be able to reopen where you're at. Otherwise, you'd have to open up the files again, and that'll become a hassle. But if you combine those two pieces together, it becomes incredibly useful. I also have another shortcut set up here. Instead of restarting, in this case, I find myself a lot of the time just want to quit out. I just want to quit everything. F9 in that case quits out. I'm done. I can move on and do something else.